Is a $50 billion divorce about to send a shockwave through Silicon Valley? Rumors are swirling that Priscilla Chan has left Meta founder Mark Zuckerberg. But what's the real story behind the headlines? We're going to break down what a split of this size would actually look like, and more importantly, figure out if there's any truth to the gossip. The internet is buzzing, prediction markets are placing bets, and the world is watching, hooked by the idea of the most expensive divorce in history. Let's separate the facts from the fiction to see what happens when one of the world's most powerful partnerships faces the ultimate test. It all started with whispers on social media, fueled by grainy photos and anonymous insider tips. The noise got louder on prediction sites like Polymarket, where people are literally betting on whether Mark and Priscilla will split up. The odds change daily, but the question hangs in the air, turning a private relationship into a public spectator sport. Then came the clickbait headlines, each one more dramatic than the last, claiming Priscilla has broken her silence and that a $50 billion settlement is already on the table. It's a story that sounds almost too wild to be true. But after a few high-profile billionaire breakups, anything feels possible. Today, we're digging in. We'll look at their history, the incredible pressures they're under, the mind-bending financial chaos a potential split would cause, and finally, deliver a verdict on whether this is all smoke or if there's a real fire burning down one of the world's most powerful partnerships. The fairy tale, a relationship built to last? To really get the scale of a potential divorce, you have to understand how their relationship started. It wasn't in a boardroom or at a flashy tech gala. It began over 20 years ago, in 2003, in line for the bathroom at a Harvard frat party. Mark Zuckerberg was a socially awkward but brilliant sophomore, and Priscilla Chan was a thoughtful freshman, the daughter of Chinese-Vietnamese refugees who had fled their country on boats. Their first exchange was anything but ordinary. As Zuckerberg tells it, his friends were throwing him a going-away party because they thought he was about to get kicked out of school for a coding project. He turned to Priscilla and hit her with a truly classic Zuckerberg line. "I'm getting kicked out in 3 days, so we need to go on a date quickly." It was weird, urgent, and somehow it worked. Chan saw something past the awkward exterior and found someone who made her laugh. She gave him her number, and one of the most important partnerships of the 21st century was born. Their relationship grew up in the shadow of Facebook's explosive rise. While Mark was dropping out of Harvard to build his empire in Palo Alto, Priscilla was finishing her degree. She was one of the very first people to join Facebook, a digital footprint showing she was there from the beginning. She stood by him through the wild early years, the legal fights shown in the social network, and the crushing pressure of turning a dorm room project into a global giant. She wasn't just a girlfriend, she was his anchor. While Mark was navigating the cutthroat world of venture capital, Priscilla was chasing her own dreams, eventually enrolling in medical school at UCSF to become a pediatrician. Their wedding in May 2012 was a masterclass in privacy. They invited friends and family to their Palo Alto home, saying it was a party to celebrate Priscilla's graduation from medical school. Instead, guests showed up to see the couple ready to exchange vows in their backyard. The timing was interesting, and it definitely raised eyebrows in the financial world. The wedding happened just one day after Facebook's massive multi-billion-dollar IPO. We'll circle back to why that timing is so important in a bit. The years that followed solidified their image as a power couple that did things their own way. They had 3 daughters, Maxima, August, and Aurelia, and Zuckerberg, who was often seen as a robotic CEO, started showing a new side of himself as a family man. In 2015, their partnership reached a global scale with the launch of the Chan-Zuckerberg Initiative, or CZI. After their first daughter was born, they wrote an open letter promising to give away 99% of their Facebook shares, worth about $45 billion at the time, to a new kind of organization aimed at advancing human potential. CZI wasn't a typical foundation, it was an LLC, giving them the freedom to fund research, build new tech, and influence public policy.
They were now co-founders and co-CEOs of one of the most ambitious philanthropic projects in history, building a shared legacy together, from a chance meeting in a bathroom line to a mission to cure all diseases. Their story seemed like a modern fairy tale. But even fairy tales have their dark chapters.
The cracks appear. What went wrong? So, if their partnership seems so solid, where are all these divorce rumors coming from? This is where speculation and the intense pressures of their life start to paint a messier picture. The idea of trouble isn't coming from one big event, but from a slow burn of public and private stress. First, there's the nonstop pressure of just being Mark Zuckerberg. For more than a decade, he's been at the center of endless controversies, from the Cambridge Analytica scandal and election interference to accusations of spreading misinformation. Meta's public image, and his, has taken a serious hit. Running a global empire that's always under fire would take a toll on anyone. While Priscilla has built her own identity as a philanthropist and pediatrician, her name is forever tied to his. The scandals surrounding Meta aren't just business problems, they're family problems that cast a shadow over their public work. Then you have the metaverse. Zuckerberg's pivot wasn't just a business move, it was an obsession that cost Meta tens of billions of dollars and got him widely mocked. This huge gamble reportedly added a new layer of stress. While he was focused on building a virtual world, Priscilla was grounded in the real one, tackling issues like healthcare and education. Gossip sources suggest this created a rift, a husband lost in a digital dream, while his wife was focused on solving real-world problems. Adding to the fire is Priscilla's own desire to be seen as more than just Mark's wife. She's been clear in interviews about building her own identity through her work. This healthy assertion of independence has been twisted by rumor mills into a story of her breaking away from him completely. Any perceived shift in the strategy of their joint Chan-Zuckerberg initiative is immediately scrutinized by the public for hints of ideological friction between them. And finally, you have the bizarre world of online sleuths. In early 2025, social media had a meltdown when Zuckerberg was seen talking with Jeff Bezos' fiancée, Lauren Sanchez. Armchair body language experts on Twitter analyzed every glance, creating a viral story out of thin air. While totally baseless, the incident shows the ridiculous level of scrutiny they're under. This constant watch, combined with the real pressures of their lives, creates the perfect breeding ground for rumors. After the high-profile divorces of Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates, the public sees the Zuckerbergs as the next domino to fall. For many, the question isn't if they'll split, but when. The $50 billion question: how a mega divorce works. Okay, let's talk about the money. The number being tossed around is a wild $50 billion. That's more than the entire GDP of some countries. It sounds made up, but could it be real? To answer that, we have to leave the gossip behind and look at the cold, hard facts of California divorce law. Mark and Priscilla live in California, which is a community property state. The rule is pretty simple. Any money or assets earned during the marriage are considered community property and are split 50-50. Anything you had before the marriage is your separate property. This is where their wedding date becomes the most important detail in this whole story. They got married on May 19th, 2012. Facebook went public on May 18th, 2012. That one-day difference might be the most expensive 24 hours in history. Because the IPO happened the day before the wedding, the huge majority of Zuckerberg's Facebook wealth, including his huge shares, would legally be his separate property. In a divorce, that fortune would theoretically be safe from the 50-50 split. Whether it was intentional or not, it was a move that shielded the core of his wealth. But it's not quite that simple. Separate property can get commingled or mixed with marital property. For instance, if money from premarital stock is put into a joint bank account and used for shared expenses, things get murky.
A team of forensic accountants would have to spend years tracing every dollar that has moved through their household for more than a decade to figure out what belongs to whom. So what would be up for grabs? Any income Mark has earned from Meta since the wedding, new stock options granted during the marriage, real estate they bought together, and other investments made with shared money would all be community property. Over 12 years, that would still add up to billions, maybe even tens of billions of dollars. But it most likely wouldn't hit the massive 50 billion figure, which seems to be an exaggeration based on his total net worth. Then there's the question of a prenup. There is no public information confirming they have one. Given the timing and the money involved, legal experts think some kind of agreement must be in place, but it's a secret. A prenup could change everything, setting out a completely different way to divide their assets. To get a sense of the scale, look at the precedents: Jeff Bezos and Mackenzie Scott, and Bill and Melinda Gates. When the Bezos couple divorced, she got stock worth around $38 billion because they married long before Amazon was a giant. The Gates divorce was more complicated, involving a contract to divide their $130 billion fortune with a huge focus on how they would co-manage their foundation. A Zuckerberg-Chan split would be just as messy, especially with the Chan-Zuckerberg initiative. CZI's structure as an LLC could make its assets part of a divorce settlement, creating a legal nightmare and putting the future of major scientific projects in jeopardy. And what about Meta? Zuckerberg has total control over the company through a special share structure that gives him superior voting rights. Even if Priscilla got a huge number of shares, she likely wouldn't get the same voting power, meaning Mark's control over Meta would probably stay intact.
As we break all this down, it's clear these rumors are about more than just a relationship. They're about wealth, power, and pressure. If you're finding this breakdown useful, hit that like button and let us know what you think in the comments. What's really going on here? Section 4. The verdict. Fact versus fiction. After looking at the history, the pressures, and the mind-boggling financials, it's time for a verdict. Is Priscilla Chan really leaving Mark Zuckerberg and taking $50 billion? Based on all the credible evidence available right now in October 2025, the answer is a clear no. There have been no official statements from the couple or their reps, no court records of a divorce filing, and no reputable news outlets have confirmed any trouble. In fact, the couple continues to appear in public together, like at the Breakthrough Prize ceremony in April 2025, and they post affectionately about each other online. On New Year's Day 2025, Zuckerberg posted a photo with Chan, captioning it, "Happy New Year and here's to even bigger things in 2025. The explosive rumors of a $50 billion divorce are, for now, fiction. They're the product of an internet gossip machine that runs on drama and speculation. The rumors are fueled by prediction markets where people bet on the lives of others and by social media accounts that invent claims for clicks. But just calling it fake news misses the bigger story. While the rumor of a divorce is false, the pressures that make it so believable are very real. The intense public scrutiny, the weight of running a controversial empire, and the difficulty of keeping a relationship private in the public eye are all real forces putting stress on their marriage. The public's obsession with a potential Zuckerberg divorce isn't just about celebrity gossip. It's a reflection of our collective anxiety about the incredible wealth and power held by a few tech titans. The breakups of figures like Gates and Bezos showed the vulnerabilities behind their godlike images. It's only natural for people to wonder about the stability of the last major partnership from that original tech dynasty. The rumors might be false, but the questions they raise are real. So, the story of Mark and Priscilla is much more than a simple tech marriage. It's a 2-decade partnership that started with an awkward chat and grew into a global philanthropic force. We've seen the immense pressures they're under that make the idea of a split seem so plausible to the outside world. And we've walked through the unbelievable financial maze of a hypothetical divorce.
While the rumors of their divorce are unsubstantiated, the narrative has taken on a life of its own. In recent years, Zuckerberg has actively presented himself as a wife guy, publicly praising Priscilla and celebrating their life together, even reportedly commissioning a statue in her honor. Is this a genuine reflection of their bond, a smart PR move to soften his image, or a bit of both?
The future for Mark and Priscilla, whether they stay together or not, will be fascinating to watch. They aren't just a married couple. They are the co-CEOs of a multi-billion-dollar project aimed at changing the future of humanity. The health of their personal relationship is tied to the future of that massive project. Their journey raises big questions. Can a relationship that started in college survive the weight of an empire? Can love and legacy really coexist under the world's brightest and most unforgiving spotlight? Ultimately, the story of the rumored Zuckerberg divorce is a modern cautionary tale, where speculation can become a global headline overnight. The $50 billion question may be a fabrication, but it reveals a deeper truth about our fascination with the titans of tech and the fact that even the people who build our digital worlds are still human.